Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. Um, this episode was interesting. There's some weird stuff that happened, some stuff that was just like WTF. Let's get into it. Let's start with the meat of it, and then we'll talk about some of the side stuff. Let's start with Ciara and Claire. So, they're both sitting looking at the picture of Gwen. And Ciara's like, no, Claire's like, well, I know this person, I've seen her before, she's at Bayview or whatever, And then she's like, her name is Claire. Ciara starts asking the dumbest questions possible. And I'm just like, why are we doing this to stretch out time? She's like, well, how do you know her? Where do you know her from? Are you sure? Are you sure she's not one of your followers? Because, sometimes your followers sit there and pretend that. I'm like, are you... Okay, man. I'm like, are you serious? Are we really going to sit there and do this? Instead of you asking her directly, hey, where she's at? Where she's at now, whatever. Actually, to tell you the truth, she didn't sit there and say she was in Bayview. She was just like, she knew her. And instead of Ciara being like, well, where is she? We have to find her. There's a woman's life in danger. She just starts asking her, just like, she starts asking a bunch of sideward questions or whatever. She doesn't actually get the meat of it. And then Ben comes in, and Ben does this thing where he walks in front of Ciara, and he has his hands folded like, well, what are you doing here? Like, I thought you were going to be in Hong Kong. I'm like, dude, seriously? I'm pretty sure Ciara's life isn't in danger. She's like 120 pounds. Let's stop acting like this woman is like Chucky or something. Anyway, he does the whole tough guy thing, which made no damn sense. And then, Ciara's like, oh, well, she knows her, she knows her name, and we didn't even sit there and confirm her name, and she already knows. And then he start asking like, hey, listen, where is she? And Claire doesn't say anything, and I'm like, cool, so we're just gonna keep stalling. Marlena comes in, and she does the whole stern grandmother thing, like, because she was talking to John before, and apparently, they found out that she snuck out the house. And at first, John was like, he started to get a little worried, and he was like, let's call Sean. And then Marlena was like, well, she's a grown adult, she's under our care, but she's not a prisoner. So anyway, she figures out that she went to Ciara's house, Ciara's place. So she figures out she goes there. And then, what the hell happens at this point? So there, and Marlene's giving her the grandmother like, oh, well, you can't be leaving without telling us, and blah, 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 blah. She has that look or whatever. And then Ciara is just like, you're going to sit there and tell us where this woman is at. And then, Claire started doing a whole, oh, well, I'm not sure, so I should do this left and right. And Marlene finally gets it out of her, and she finally tells everyone that she knows, that she is in Bayview. This is like a half an hour into the show, and I'm like, wow, really? We done? Okay, all right. Wow. Anyway, after all that unnecessariness, the hell happens? They finally decide to go there. Well, Ciara stays behind in case Jay comes, and Marlene takes Ben to find, to get, because they actually had to convince her. They actually had to convince Marlene to help because it was after visiting hours. And it was like, Marlene, are you gonna help? And then Marlene just kind of stands there and it's like has that stern look on her face. I'm like, we really gonna do this? So I guess I gotta wait till a commercial. Okay, fine. So after she agrees to help, she takes Ben with her, and they go to Belle Reeve, and and Marlene's like, well, you know what? Listen, she wasn't lying. Claire wasn't lying. She was here. but now she's gone. So pretty much that's where that leaves off. And by the way, just on a side note, how long is 24 hours in Salem? Because let's kind of rewind back a little bit to where Jake is in police custody. You know, they're interrogating, you have Lonnie and Eli interrogating Jake. And by the way, I gotta sit there and say that they actually legit look like cops. Like, you know, like detectives and shit. I can't say the same for whatever that woman's name that was on General Hospital. I can't remember her name now. It's been so long. Lulu's cousin. She never looked like a cop to me. She just never gave off that vibe. But Eli and Lonnie legit, like, they feel like they could be like detectives. So anyway, they start asking a bunch of questions or whatever. And Jake is like, you know, he's like, yo, listen, I keep getting this phone call. I gotta go. Like, so, you know, Eli is like, you know what, listen, I'm gonna let you wait here. You gonna chill. And when we get back, maybe you'll be more inclined to talk. And so they leave the room. Jake finally calls some people. I think he calls he gets a voicemail from, I think, from Ben. And he calls that guy, the guy who's holding Gabby hostage. And he's like, hey, listen, you know, the guy's like, well, it's been 24 hours, so you got my stuff? And, you know, Jake is like, listen, I'll get it to you. I'm just kind of in the bind right now. Just wait till I get out of this situation, out of, you know, from the cops or whatever, and I'll get you what you need. And so the guy's like, all right, you know, listen, I'll give you 3 more hours. What are we doing at this point? I mean, what are we really doing at this point? Just my, you know, captive point of view. You gave this guy 24 hours to sit there and find this thing, which, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like that wasn't enough time, but whatever, you gave him a deadline, and he didn't meet the deadline. So you're like, alright, cool, I'll give you like 3 more hours. What is 3 more hours actually gonna do at this point? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I really don't. I don't get that. But he's like, all right, you know, you get 3 more hours. Meanwhile, in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, there was some funny stuff that happened when you know, Gabby's being held by this guy, and Gabby goes into this whole explanation about how, you know, he's not, you know, he doesn't remember me being his wife, but, you know, he's really my husband, even though he doesn't remember, and blah, 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 blah. And the guy's like, listen, I don't care about your sad story. I don't care about your sad life. Alright? I just want my stuff back. So, because in the beginning he walks in there and Gabby's screaming at the top of her lungs. And the dude's like, listen, no one's gonna hear you outside. I just am getting annoyed with just hearing your voice, so can you please shut up? There was one point where he came after, I guess, he talked to Jake, and he came and gave her water, and, you know, she didn't try to, like, reach for her or anything like that. So he puts the cup in her hand, and then she, like, spills it on him. And I'm like, you know, just from a kidnapper's point of view, just because he has to keep you alive doesn't mean he has to keep you comfortable. You know, torture is a fun way to pass the time, just saying. So I didn't really understand the whole bratty attitude. I was like, alright, listen, you're not really in a position of any kind to be acting the way you're acting, but okay, sure. So yeah, Jake finally, he doesn't finally actually do anything. When Lonnie and Eli comes back, Jake is like, so listen, it hasn't been 24 hours. You can't file a missing report on her. And so, I mean, you can't really charge anybody with anything. So I really don't actually have to be here. So bye. And then you have Eli, you have Lonnie just like looking all disappointed, like, you knew you couldn't hold him. Why are you acting so surprised that he doesn't know his rights or something. Like, I don't. Okay, whatever. So anyway, Jake leaves and Jake goes running straight to Sierra. And then you got the worst tales in the world, probably. You not that long ago, not that far away, you got Lonnie and Eli, waiting outside or whatever. Like, oh, well, why would he be going here? Or I wonder what he's up to. Well, we gotta stick close. We gotta stick close to him. Okay, I'm pretty sure that I would be able to spot if somebody wasn't that far away from me. But then again, I guess he's kind of dumb now that I think about it, because he went straight to his accomplice, Sierra. You let the cops straight there. So, and I guess in their defense, he's not really that bright. So yeah, that pretty much ends their story. There was some quick scenes with Will and Sonny, and Will was sitting there telling Sonny that he is going to be Ben's best man. His best man. And Sonny was like, I don't know if that's a good idea because he tried to kill you. And then Will was like, well, he also saved my life, so that kind of makes us even. So we good, right? You cool with us, going to the wedding? And he's like, fine. And then Ari comes in. I just gotta get myself some major brownie points to actually remember her name. Which she kind of looks like Charlotte from General Hospital, but whatever. So she comes in and she's like, hey, listen, I want to talk to mommy. Where's mommy? I want to talk to mommy. And then you got Will and Sonny trying to scramble for like ideas. And I'm just at this point, I was like, yo, y'all are running out of excuses. Maybe you should probably tell her the truth at this point. But they go from excuse to excuse to excuse. And then they finally run out, and then they're like, hey, listen, let's talk about, the adoption. We're going to adopt, a baby, and we want to make sure that you're cool with it. And then they get the most weirdest, cringe-worthy music when she's like, I want a dog. And I'm just like, it wasn't the fact that she said she wanted a dog. I was fine with that answer because apparently I guess she felt like she didn't really want another sibling or whatever, being the only child or whatever. She was really fine with that. So I didn't mind her answer. I minded the awkward ass music that they decided to play. I don't know. I guess this is more of a classic soap opera kind of thing, so okay, fine, whatever. So she says she wants a dog, and then they just kind of look at each other, and well, that's pretty much about it. Yeah, that's it. That was pretty much about it. That was literally the whole episode. Like I said, a lot didn't happen, and the stuff that happened, like the stuff that happened with Eli and Lonnie and Jake, was all together. It wasn't like there was anything separate. So they pretty much kind of shared their scenes. There was some quick scenes with John and Marlene, and then that was pretty much about it. Yeah, nothing major really happened except for the fact that they know where Gwen is, and now they apparently don't know where Gwen is at because she, Marlene thinks that she left, and she might have left, so yeah. So that's pretty much about it. I was just not there thinking in my head, was like, yo, how long is 24 hours? Because it's been 5 days. Like, I can't imagine all this stuff happens in one day. Like, I whatever. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this recap of Days of Our Lives. Sorry it came out so late, but yeah, work has been a little crazy. But since I'm off tomorrow, hopefully I can actually do the review after I see it, and that's, fingers crossed that they don't decide to have a news interruption or the news lasting a lot longer than it should and whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna do my best to actually get out the recap after I finish watching it, and yeah. That's gonna do it. Be safe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next recap.